Hello students, today's topic is bipolar junction transistor. So bipolar junction transistor, these three terms comes, the first term comes from the because both electrons and holes contributes to the conduction. The second term junction comes because the device includes two p-n junctions, and the third term transistor that comes from the transfer resistance. And thus the name bipolar junction transistor, in short BJT. And as we move further, we will discuss about the three statements. The point contact transistor was invented in the year 1948, but these transistors had many limitations. Limitations like it is difficult to produce on a large scale, they were electrically noisy, their performance was not reliable, they could not be used for large power gain. And to overcome some of the problems, William Shockley proposed the junction form of transistor. It was invented in the year 1951, and in the year 1956, three scientists received the Nobel Prize for the invention and development of the device, this BJT. This is the schematic of transistor, two types of transistors that we have, PNP transistor and NPN transistor. As I have said, this is the schematic of transistor. This is not actual configuration of the transistor. The first portion is termed as emitter, the middle one is base, and the last one is collector. So as here also, the first one is emitter, the middle one is base, and the last one is collector. The base portion, base layer, it is very thin, and on the both side, on the two side of base, we have two regions, emitter and collector. They are of same type. Here both are p type, and here both are n type. They are of same type, and an ohmic, that is non-rectifying contact is made to each other. So these are the schematic of a PNP transistor and NPN transistor. As I have said, this is it is consists of silicon or germanium single crystal containing two p-n junctions. It is a single crystal, and in the beginning the junction transistors were manufactured by two classical methods, Groen junction and alloy junction techniques, but nowadays different techniques have developed. So it constructed on the same crystal by different techniques of doping. So this represents only the schematic, not the exact configuration. Okay, and these are the circuit symbols for NPN transistor and PNP transistor. So how we can identify this one is NPN transistor and this one is PNP transistor? Here we can see that arrowhead is directed from the base to the emitter. So current flows from P region to N region. So we can say the base is P and N is the emitter is N. So if emitter is N, the collector is also N. So it is NPN transistor. So whenever the arrowhead directed from directs from base region to emitter region, we can say that this is emitter junction. NPN junction and NPN transistor. And if the arrowhead directed from emitter to base, so this emitter must be P. If emitter P, then the collector must be P. So it is PNP transistor. So by looking at the arrowhead, we can identify the type of transistor, which one is a PNP transistor and which one is NPN transistor. But this is the circuit symbol. So in circuit, we can identify by these arrowheads, but in practically, the transistors can be identified by using an ohmic meter. For normal operation of a transistor, the emitter base junction is this junction. Emitter base junction is forward bias, so the junction offers a low resistance to the current, to the flow of current. And the collector base junction, this junction is reverse bias, so that the junction offers a high resistance to the flow of current. the current flowing through the emitter base junction, this is emitter base, the current flowing through the emitter base junction should be carried by the primarily by the majority carriers from emitter region, and the majority carriers in the base region, flowing from base to the emitter do not contribute to the collector current. So the emitter current is entirely due to the majority carriers that are flowing from emitter to base and base to emitter. The collector current have nothing to the base current. The emitter region is heavily doped, the base region is lightly doped, and the doping of collector region is light or maybe in between the doping of these two regions, highly doped emitter region and very lightly doped base region. The doping must be intermediate between these two dopings. When the emitter base junction is forward biased, the collector base junction is reverse biased. The emitter current IE is due to the majority carriers in the emitter flowing from emitter to the base, the majority carriers that are flowing emitter to the base, and the majority carriers of the opposite side in the base flowing from the base to the emitter. But the collector current IC is due to the majority carriers from the emitter which diffuse across the base and enter the collector region. So for efficient working of the transistor, IC should be as large as a fraction of IE as possible, and IE is almost entirely due to the flow of the majority carriers from the emitter region. That is, almost the IC is almost equal to IE that are diffused from the emitter to the collector region through base. And during the flow of majority carriers through the base region, their decrease in number due to the recombination process is minimum. That is, when the majority carriers from emitter diffuse to the collector, the recombination at the base region should be minimum. These conditions are accomplished when the emitter region is heavily doped and the base region is lightly doped and is very thin. The doping of the collector region is not so important. It is usually lightly doped in order to increase the collector base junction. The area of the collector junction is generally made considerably larger than the emitter region. This is necessary because the majority carriers from the emitter flowing through the base diffuse in the forward direction as well as sideways. A large area of the collector region prevents excessive recombination of holes and electrons in the base region. And because of the small area of the emitter junction, the capacitance associated with this junction is small. The capacitance at this junction should be as small as possible so that the frequency response of the transistor is not affected. So, in case of NPN transistor, the flow of the current is mostly due to the electrons, that is the majority carriers in the emitter that diffused from emitter region to the collector region through the base. At each region, in this region and this region, at each region there is a depletion region which gives rise to an internal potential barrier. For the transistor action, the external biasing of the junction is provided by the batteries, this battery and this battery. The emitter base junction is forward biased and the collector base junction is reverse biased. Consequently, the internal potential barrier at the emitter base junction is neutralized. The width of the depletion region at collector base junction increases and the majority carriers holes in the base are blocked due to the increase in potential barrier. Under forward bias condition, the emitter base junction, a large number of electrons crosses the junction and enters to the base. At the same time, a very small number of holes flows from the base to the emitter. These holes, on reaching the emitter, recombine with an equal number of electrons in the emitter. The loss of the total number of electrons in the emitter is made up by the flow of an equal number of electrons from the negative terminal of the battery into the emitter. The flow of electrons from the emitter to the base, from the base into the flow of electrons from the emitter to the base and holes from the base into the emitter gives rise to the emitter current. So, the emitter current is due to the majority carriers that are flowing from the emitter to the base region. So, in this case, the electrons that are flowing from emitter to base and the holes that are flowing from base to emitter. So, the total IE must be due to the electrons that are flowing in this direction and the holes that are flowing in this direction. So, IE must be the total of these two current. But as the base region is very lightly doped, so the number of holes that are coming from base region to emitter region or P region to N region is very low in comparison to the majority carriers in the emitter region, as it is very highly doped. So, in the external circuit, we can say that IE is entirely dependent on the majority carriers, that is electrons in the emitter region in case of NPN transistor. When the electrons diffuse through the base, they take a small but finite time to flow through the region or base region and reach at the depletion region of the collector base junction. During this time, a very small number of electrons recombine with an equal number of holes in the base. Since the base is very thin and it is lightly doped, this number is very small. In practice, about 2% of electrons which diffuse into the base from the emitter region recombine with the holes in the base. The loss of the total number of holes is made up by the flow of an equal number of electrons from the base to the positive terminal of the battery. These electrons are released from the covalent bonds of the crystal atoms in the base. The flow of such electrons forms the base current. Due to the recombination process in the base, remaining 98% of the electrons which diffuse into the base from emitter reach the collector region. These electrons are swept out of the base into the collector by the reverse bias voltage. These electrons, on reaching the collector, are attracted by the positive terminal of this battery. At the same time, an equal number of electrons flows from the negative terminal of this battery and reach to the positive terminal of this battery. The flow of electrons from base to the collector gives rise to the collector current, and in addition to this, the majority carriers that are diffusing from emitter to collector, in addition to these, a reverse saturation current also contribute to the collector current. It is due to the holes that are generated thermally in the collector region and electrons generated thermally in the base region. Thus, the total collector current is due to the diffusion current, and the total collector current is due to the diffusion current and the current due to the thermally generated carriers in the collector region and the base region. But in the external circuit, we can say the total current, emitter current, is equal to the base current and the collector current. So, IE is equal to IB plus IC. So, in case of NPN transistor, the IE is equal to IB plus IC. And similarly, we can explain the flow of current through a PNP transistor. It is also in here also IE is equal to IB plus IC. This is a NPN transistor because the arrowhead is from base to emitter. In the active region, the emitter base junction is forward biased, as we have seen earlier in the earlier slides. The emitter base junction is forward biased. So, VBE must be greater than 0, as because it is forward biased. So, VB minus VE must be greater than 0. And the collector base junction is reverse biased. So, collector base junction, if the collector base junction is reverse biased, so VB minus VC must be less than 0 because it is reverse biased. That is why what is written here, BC less than 0, that is VB minus VC less than 0. And the equivalent circuit of NPN transistor can be written, can be drawn like this. This is a PN junction, this is base side, this is the collector side, and this is the emitter side. The emitter base junction is here, we have drawn a diode, and in the collector region we have a current control current source, and IC, that IC is equal to alpha IE. Alpha is a constant which is very nearly equal to 1. So, that IC can be very nearly equal to IE, that is the recombination very less at the base region. So, that IC is very nearly equal to IE. And this is the equivalent circuit of NPN transistor. Similarly, we can here we have PNP transistor, So, in PNP transistor, the emitter base junction is also forward biased. If emitter base junction is forward biased, then PNP, so VEB must be greater than 0. So, VE minus VE must be greater than 0, and the collector base junction is reverse biased. So, PNP, that means VCB must be less than 0. VCB must be less than 0, that is VC minus VB must be less than 0. And the equivalent circuit of a PNP transistor, we can draw like this. Here we have a transistor in this flowing from, since it is flowing from emitter to base, so the transistor is in this direction. So, it is flowing from, the current is flowing from IE from emitter to base, and the collector current IC is equal to alpha IE, that is alpha is very nearly equal to 1, and IC must be, so that we get IC nearly equal to IE, and IB must be very less. So, these are the equivalent circuit of NPN and PNP transistor. So, this is the equivalent circuit of NPN transistor, and this is the equivalent circuit of PNP transistor. Since the base emitter junction is forward biased, the voltage is typically 0.6 to 0.75 volt. The base collector junction is reverse biased, and the reverse bias voltage can be several volts to 100 of volts and is limited by the breakdown voltage of the base collector junction. Now, as in the previous slide, we have seen that IC is equal to alpha into I, where alpha is very nearly equal to 1. IE is equal to, also we have IE equal to IB plus IC. So we can write IB equal to IE minus IC, and we can write IE into 1 minus alpha. So the current gain of the transistor, which is written as beta, is equal to IC by IB, and putting the value of IC and IB, that is IC equal to alpha IE and IB equal to IE into 1 minus alpha, we get the relation beta is equal to alpha by 1 minus alpha. This is the relation of beta and alpha. Beta is a function of function of IC and temperature. In the next class, I will discuss about the beta and why it is dependent on IC and the temperature. But in normal situation, we will take beta as constant because at room temperature, we will consider beta as constant. Usually transistors are designed to have high value of beta of the order of 100 to 200. Usually transistor, but beta can be as high as 2000 for super transistors, and also beta can be less than 100, maybe it equal to 50 for the in the case of power transistors. If beta is large, we have the expression for beta is equal to IC by IB. If beta is large, then IB is very small in comparison to IC. That is, the transistor is operating in active region. So here I have given a circuit which is a NPN transistor. The RB, RC, these are given. Here the voltage is 10 volt and here given 2 volt. Beta is 100. Now verify the transistor is operating in active region or not. So this is a task for you, and I will discuss about it in the next class. Thank you.